I'm Allister Heath and I'm responding to some of the excellent reader comments on my latest article, and we begin with a comment from Nicar Smith. How come Blair is labelled a war criminal by joining the US war in Iraq, and two-tier Keir is criticised for being careful about doing so? Well, simple answer to that. I don't call Blair a war criminal for having joined the US war in Iraq. The Americans thought that it would be very easy to rebuild the country and remodel it according to liberal democratic norms. All of that was a disaster. It was clearly a mistake also to take out Iraq. Iran has always been a much bigger threat to the world than Iraq, and destroying Iraq actually strengthened Iran. So I don't think Blair was a war criminal. What he did was wrong. It was stupid. It was a mistake. As a result of that, I think it is the right thing to do for America to help Israel get rid of Iran's nuclear program. I'm not calling my piece for Britain to actually bomb Iran. I'm just saying we should support it. So that is really the difference between the two positions. The next question is by Spectre Blake. It's a no-brainer. Iran is a backer and financier of the three H's: Hamas, the Houthis and Hezbollah. So surely Israel is fighting for the West too. Yes, as you say, it's a no-brainer, quite clearly. Iran is a massive force for instability, chaos, extremism, terrorism, murder and death around the world. And at the very least, it should not be allowed to come anywhere near nuclear weapons. So I think Israel is clearly fighting for the West. In fact, it is saving the West despite the West's best efforts. Keir Starmer, who is useless on this like on everything else, is trying to call all the time for de-escalation. That's a very big mistake. Macron continues to attack Israel, another big mistake. Israel is doing the West's dirty work for it. We should be thanking Israel for making the world safer, for reducing the threat of nuclear proliferation, and for re-establishing Western deterrence. John True: if we bomb Iran, I hope people realise that in doing so we will make ourselves a legitimate target. I hope people realise it will inspire more attacks against us. Well, John, I profoundly disagree. Number one, we would not be a legitimate target. If you attack a hostile nation that is trying to build a nuclear weapon, that's fine. That nation does not have the right to attack you back. Secondly, neither I nor anyone else is calling for Britain to bomb Iran. What we're saying is, if Israel can't do it on its own because it may not have the correct ammunition and planes and so on to take out these very deep nuclear power plants, then America should do it. Until now, we've always taken a leading role in all of these global fights against terrorism, against invasion and so on. For example, we've done a lot to help Ukraine since its despicable invasion by Russia. But we're standing aside here because Starmer is weak and scared, and he doesn't have the moral courage to speak up and say it is right to try and prevent Iran, which is a despotic state that harms its own citizens, from obtaining a nuclear bomb, especially given that they spend all of their time chanting death to America, death to Britain, and promising to annihilate Israel. The next comment is John McCambi. There's no mention of Israel's nuclear weapons. Surely neither country should have them. Well, again, I disagree with this. There's no moral equivalence between the two countries. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, it'd be a complete catastrophe because it's an extremist state and exporter of terror. It does not deserve to have a nuclear weapon, in the same way that North Korea should never have been allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. Israel developed its own nuclear weapons many decades ago. Why? Because it needs them just in case some crazy country like Iran wants to attack it. Nuclear weapons can be a force for peace. They're only a force for bad, for evil, if they are owned and obtained by despotic dictatorships or ludicrous terror states like Iran. Next question from Montgomery Rayleigh. Trump can't decide what to do either. He's caught between sensible republicanism, which is strongly interventionist, and MAGA-based populism, which opposes US involvement. I think it's more complicated than that. I think Trump's always wanted to prevent Iran from having nuclear bombs. Trump isn't a pacifist. He is absolutely not an isolationist. But what he doesn't want to do is engage in nation building and wholesale invasions of countries like George W. Bush did, because that failed disastrously. What you see in America right now is that there's a very loud and noisy isolationist element, in some cases a very anti-Israel element, that doesn't want Trump to do anything. And that does represent some voters, but it's only a very small minority of the Republican Party and even a small minority of MAGA voters. Ultimately, I think the vast majority of MAGA voters will follow Trump in whatever he chooses to do. Now, Trump maybe hasn't decided yet, or maybe he has. He likes sending out mixed messages. He likes confusing people. That's part of his strategy. We shall see. I suspect he will act, but let's hold this space. That is it for today. Thank you to all our subscribers for your comments. Keep them coming, and as always, we will try and get back to as many of you as possible.